By now, we've all heard the warning, AI is coming for your job. And looking at the headlines, it is entirely believable. January of 2026 marked the highest number of layoffs to start a year since 2009. Tech leadership has been heavily pushing this narrative. They claim that letting people go is an unavoidable consequence of rapid AI advancement. But if these massive layoffs are really about artificial intelligence being so advanced that it replaces human labor, the proof should be obvious. So is the workforce truly becoming obsolete? Or is this widespread panic covering up a different corporate agenda entirely? This chart breaks down the actual reasons behind the recent job cuts. Out of all the people let go, only about 55,000 lost their jobs because of AI. That makes up a tiny 4.5% of the total. The vast majority of these layoffs stem from much more traditional business issues. Hundreds of thousands of jobs were cut simply because of closing facilities, basic corporate restructuring, tariffs, and weak demand. In the 33 months since ChatGPT was introduced to the public, independent research shows that employment levels across major industries have remained completely stable. The massive labor disruption we keep hearing about hasn't actually shown up in the data. If the numbers clearly demonstrate that artificial intelligence isn't replacing workers, then the explanation we're getting from corporate America is a deliberately crafted cover story. There is a very specific reason a CEO would loudly blame AI right before cutting thousands of jobs, and it all comes down to Wall Street. The market aggressively rewards any company that attaches the letters A and I to its business. Executives are trapped. If they go to investors and admit that they hired way too many people during the pandemic, or that their core products are suffering from weak demand, their stock prices will instantly plummet. Instead of admitting failure, they claim the cuts are part of an aggressive pivot toward artificial intelligence. It masks weak management, and the market immediately responds by pumping up the stock's value. People are losing their livelihoods right now because the mere promise of artificial intelligence makes the people at the top significantly richer. Corporate America has been running this exact same playbook for 40 years. The only thing that changes in each decade is the excuse they use to justify the cuts. In the 1980s, executives blamed massive job losses on globalization and automation. The truth was much simpler. They were closing domestic plants and outsourcing the work to Mexico and China, where labor was drastically cheaper. When severe recessions hit during that era, the resulting economic chaos made the automation cover story incredibly easy to sell to the American public. We saw it again after the 2008 financial crash. This time, the official excuse was closing and restructuring, which gave companies the political cover to systematically gut their white-collar workforces by 700,000 people every single month. Today's panic over AI is a new iteration of that identical system. It provides executives with a highly believable narrative to shed their workers while the economy feels uncertain. The real danger lies beyond the initial wave of job cuts. We have to look at what happens to the labor market when the panic eventually subsides and companies start hiring again. Historically, returning workers find an environment that has been entirely downgraded. Even with the exact same qualifications they had before, they are forced to accept longer hours, fewer benefits, and lower pay. After the 2008 recession, food service work experienced the biggest hiring spike. During the crash, 367,000 of those positions disappeared. But in the recovery, 1.2 million of these lower-paying jobs were added back to the economy. At the same time, we saw a massive shift away from stable, full-time employment. The market was flooded with precarious gig economy and contract work that offered zero stability and no healthcare. That is the actual consequence of these cover stories. The ultimate threat of the AI layoff narrative is a deliberate, structural downgrade of the American job. Because these cycles of labor degradation repeat themselves no matter what technology is trending, taking control of your own financial security is your best immediate defense. That's why today's sponsor, Chime, is so important. Chime is a banking app built to help you easily manage and grow your money, particularly through their high-yield savings account. It earns up to 3% APY with no fees and no minimum balance. If you let $7,000 sit in that account, you would earn about $210 in a single year, completely passively. And you can even get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Right now, Chime is offering up to a $350 bonus exclusively through my link. Scan the QR code on screen or check the description to start earning that 3% APY. and give your balance a boost. Now that we know the AI layoff panic is mostly a profitable corporate illusion, we still have to ask the most important question. When companies slash payrolls and downgrade the labor market, exactly where do those hundreds of millions of dollars end up? The money doesn't simply vanish into the abstract stock market. I traced it, and the ultimate beneficiary is a highly specific financial system. Tech companies are slashing their workforces, and they're pointing the finger straight at artificial intelligence. Usually, massive layoffs signal a company in distress, but instead, the stock market is aggressively rewarding them rather than panicking. Take Klarna, the buy now, pay later company. They completely stopped hiring new staff, and in a very short window, their total number of employees dropped by almost half. The CEO explicitly stated that AI can already do all of the jobs that we as humans do. He even went as far as telling Sam Altman that he wanted Klarna to be ChatGPT's favorite guinea pig. You might expect investors to panic at a company gutting its staff to test drive an algorithm. Instead, the market loved it. By 2025, they rewarded Klarna with a massive $15 billion IPO valuation. Salesforce followed a nearly identical script. The CEO fired 4,000 customer support workers, citing that AI can now handle 50% of all client conversations. And that was after firing 7,000 workers the year prior. The financial penalty for cutting 11,000 people? Their stock price doubled. These explosive valuations aren't happening because the underlying AI technology is actually that magical. There is a specific financial mechanism at work here, and it gets triggered the moment a company fires its workers. The machine converting these layoffs into cash is called a stock buyback. This diagram shows a pizza divided into 10 equal slices. Imagine a company's total profit is represented as this whole pizza, and each of those 10 slices represents a single share of stock. Now, during a stock buyback, the company uses its cash to buy its own shares from the open market. When the company removes half of those available shares, the remaining 5 physically expand to fill the void. The actual pizza didn't get any bigger, but because there are fewer slices, the remaining shares automatically appear larger and more valuable to Wall Street, instantly pushing the earnings per share up. It is a totally legal accounting trick. It allows executives to massage their earnings numbers without actually improving the company's products or services in any way. For a long time, doing this was heavily restricted. Prior to 1982, buying back your own company's stock was largely illegal. It was literally considered a form of market manipulation. That changed when the SEC gutted financial regulations in 1982 under President Ronald Reagan. Even after it was legalized, most companies were conservative with it. Through the 90s, corporations still only spent about 2% of their profits on these buybacks. The practice went into overdrive after the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This legislation slashed the corporate tax rate from 35% down to 21%, a massive cut pitched directly from the White House. The political pitch made to the public to justify such huge corporate tax savings was that the money would trickle down. They projected it would lead to an average annual raise of $4,000 per worker. This bar chart compares the original promise to the actual data. The $4,000 expectation dwarfs the reality. Workers received an average one-time bonus of just $28. Meanwhile, 80% of the corporate savings funded a staggering $2.7 trillion in stock buybacks. Through decades of targeted deregulation and specific tax cuts, corporations built an automated, legally sanctioned system. It is designed entirely to funnel corporate capital away from workers and directly into stock inflation. Which brings us back to the companies blaming artificial intelligence for their sudden mass layoffs. Look at the ledger for Salesforce. In the exact same quarter they fired 4,000 workers, supposedly because of AI disruption. They quietly announced a $20 billion increase to their stock buyback program. The incentive is incredibly simple. Modern executive compensation is mostly tied to stock price, not a flat salary. By firing their workers and using all of the solved cash to buy back stock, executives are directly enriching themselves. And once that buyback automatically inflates the share price, there is a very clear pattern. The CEOs and other corporate insiders quickly sell off their personal shares at these newly inflated numbers to pocket the cash.
AI did not build this wealth extraction machine. It merely provided corporate executives with a blameless, futuristic cover story.
They can gut their workforces, inflate the stock, and cash out, all while pointing the finger at an algorithm. When the financial tech company Klarna eliminated approximately 700 customer service positions, it looked exactly like the nightmare scenario everyone had been worried about. Humans were out, and a shiny new AI chat assistant was brought in to handle it. But almost immediately, the complaints started pouring in. Customers were stuck dealing with an automated system that only spit out generic, repetitive responses and completely failed to resolve anything beyond the simplest of issues. Facing a massive public backlash, Klarna had to backpedal. They quietly started rehiring human agents, specifically targeting students and remote rural workers to fill those gaps on the cheap. This chart shows the total volume of code currently being generated by AI, and it reveals a massive problem for highly skilled labor. Right now, fully half of all AI-generated code contains critical security vulnerabilities. They slip through because developers admit blindly accepting code they don't understand. Because fixing these mistakes wastes resources, 55% of organizations that cut workers for AI now regret it. The technical failure of AI is secondary to the narrative's success. This cover story allows companies to dismantle existing labor structures and rebuild them on their own terms. The first phase of this corporate playbook starts right after the layoffs fail. Companies are forced to bring human workers back to perform the exact same functions, but they do it by creating entirely new, lower-tier job titles with reduced compensation. The research firm Gartner recently predicted that by 2027, half of all the companies that reduce their headcount using AI will have completed this exact cycle of quiet, cheaper rehiring. But for the people who haven't even entered the job market yet, the situation is worse. Phase 2 of the playbook relies on automating away the basic, essential grunt work that used to serve as an on-ramp for new professionals. Historically, entry-level jobs were an agreed-upon exchange. The pay was low, but you earned vital hands-on learning and a stepping stone in fields like software development, data analysis, and consulting. This graph tracks hiring trends in those industries, illustrating a severe drop in entry-level openings between 2018 and 2024. The stepping stones are being removed. Automating entry-level tasks creates underemployment. College graduates are funneled into roles that never required a degree to begin with. Once you step inside the workplace, the final phase of the playbook takes effect. For the employees who survived the cuts, AI is now being deployed to rigorously dictate the day-to-day terms of their existence. Amazon operates an extreme version of this surveillance ecosystem in their warehouses. They use a network of cameras, biometric scanners, and highly tuned algorithms to track every single second of an employee's idle time. The pressure is completely relentless. A study out of Northwestern University revealed that 57% of Amazon warehouse workers report that their daily shifts feel exactly like being in prison. This level of tracking is so aggressive that it's triggering international legal action. France's Data Protection Authority recently hit Amazon with a €32 million fine for utilizing what they classified as excessively intrusive surveillance. And surveillance is just the data collection phase. Some companies are using that data to implement dynamic salaries, allowing an AI to constantly adjust a worker's pay based on micro-performance metrics, completely mirroring the dynamic pricing algorithms used in modern grocery stores. The goal here is strict behavioral control. When workers are tracked by the second and constantly reminded that an algorithm could replace them tomorrow, they are statistically far less likely to demand a raise or ask for better working conditions. The combination of total visibility and algorithmic pay functions as a psychological weapon. When every move is tracked and every cent is variable, workers lose the confidence to demand a raise or push for better conditions. Looking at this bar chart, you can see the glaring disconnect between corporate spending and actual results. Despite the towering billions being poured into these systems, 95% of generative AI projects completely fail to deliver any measurable profit. The failure rate is so severe that 42% of companies have already given up entirely and abandoned their major AI initiatives. Yet despite these massive losses, corporate spending continues to climb. That's because historic innovation cycles are rarely driven by immediate results. They are propelled entirely by the fear of being left behind. It is a state of mutual panic. The executives signing the checks are terrified of becoming obsolete against their competitors, just as much as everyday workers are afraid of becoming irrelevant in their careers. But the unavoidable reality is that technological innovation cannot be stopped, and simply hating the tool is not a viable strategy for survival. The people who will suffer the most long-term won't be the initial victims of these layoffs. It will be the workers who refuse to learn how these systems actually operate, or worse, the ones who blindly use AI to pump out uncurated slop without critical judgment. Right now, ignorance is the most expensive position you can possibly hold. You have to adapt, learn to leverage the tools available to you, and understand the mechanics of money and power pulling the strings. You can start doing exactly that by joining the newsletter linked in the description.